Hi, good morning. This is Irma. I'm coming back to you again regarding our series regarding Journey with Anaplastic Astrocytoma, a journey with Anna. Last time I spoke to you all from California, out there visiting my very brand new grandbaby. I'm still here. And today I'm in the whirlpool, but I'm not showing a picture of myself. But I do want to talk to you about what happened after the surgery, after the resection of the brain tumor called anaplastic astrocytoma. One of the sickness that my son encountered after the surgery was called diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus is a diabetes that has to do with a hormone in the brain called that hormone. What is the name of that hormone? That hormone is a hormone that tells you when to urinate and how much to urinate out, how much sodium, how much potassium, how much trace elements to urinate out, and when to pee and how much urine to put out. It'll come to me in a minute, but I'll continue talking until it does. But so Sean had diabetes insipidus. I call it a water diabetes because he urinated out, and there was nothing there to say stop urinating. So he would urinate out way too much urine, and then from there he would become dehydrated, and all of the signs and symptoms that go with dehydration, such as the nail bed getting dark. He would get a high fever. Of course, with the fever, your heart rate goes up. So a lot of different symptoms of being dehydrated because he had urinated out too much. The biggest thing was that his sodium was way too high. So what I would have to do would be give him some water, and then also Pedialyte. He was a child still when this started, 8 years old. So I would give him Pedialyte to replace the electrolytes in him. So with diabetes insipidus, it was very rare, and it's still rare. At the time when my son was diagnosed with diabetes insipidus after surgery, post-surgery, there were only 400 cases in my state of Georgia of people with diabetes insipidus, and it is considered incurable. So I had to learn, between the doctor and myself, we came up with a plan of how much water intake Sean should get daily. We also came up with a plan of how much urine he should have as an output, how much urine output he should have during the day. So we watched Sean, we kept up, we were very careful to make notation of his urine output. We were very careful to make notations of his water intake, and we learned his body, his system, and so we came up with a plan of how much water he should get every day to keep his sodium between 145, 150 would be on the high end for him, and 140 would be on the low end for him. So keeping his sodium at 145 was the area that we would strive for every day. So every day I measured Sean's urine output, and every day I gave him a certain amount of water. If his sodium became too high, meaning that he put out too much urine, I would give him extra fluids, extra water, Also, I would give him Pedialyte. If he did not put out very much urine in a particular day, I would hold the water so that the sodium count would build up back to where it should build up to. So not enough urine output, I would hold the water. Too much urine output, I would give him extra water. So with my having to deal with a sodium problem, diabetes insipidus is a sodium problem, I looked at it as a salt problem. So I looked at it as if you put salt in a glass of water and you put a little water in there, that salt content is going to be very, very salty. But if you put a lot of water in that glass with salt in it, you're not going to have a concentrated amount of salt in that water, because depending on the amount of water that you put in with the salt, the water dilutes the salt. The same thing with sodium. If the body has too much sodium, then you dilute it by having an intake of more water. So if you don't have enough sodium in your system, then you hold the water so that the sodium count can build up. So that's how I took care of Sean's diabetes insipidus. I did that every day for 10.5 years, just as I changed the trach every week for 10.5 years, just as I changed the feeding tube every 4 months for 10.5 years with my son, with our son. So it was a labor of love. So that is what I did with him. And the hormone that was wiped out with Sean post resection of the anaplastic astrocytoma tumor was called ADT, antidiuretic. It was an ADH, antidiuretic hormone. That's a hormone that tells the body when to urinate, how much to urinate out, how much urine to urinate out, and also how much sodium and how much other elements to urinate out. I'm not a doctor, nor am I a nurse, and there is a whole lot more to diabetes insipidus than what I can tell you from a parent's point of view. But what I do know is what worked for my son. My son, upon getting the surgery, the doctor said that he would not live even during this surgery. But my son lived 10.5 years longer. And every time he had to be hospitalized, they did tell me that he was very well taken care of at home, and they did not understand how I could take care of him with diabetes insipidus, because diabetes insipidus is very tricky to take care of in the hospital, no less at home. So that's it for now. I'm going to give you a view of where I am. I live right straight ahead of you, what you're seeing, with my family for now while I'm visiting out here in California. All right, be blessed and take care. Have a great day. Bye.